Jamaica is so far successfully staying the course in what is a grueling but needed IMF-sanctioned medium-term economic program. And as Bank of Jamaica Governor Brian Winter reinforced at his quarterly briefing November 18, an IMF team's positive review of Jamaica's second quarter performance is likely to unlock much needed capital. An IMF board's successful review of Jamaica's second quarter performance will result in a drawdown of about $30 million from the IMF, as well as giving the green light to other multilaterals such as the IDB and the World Bank to assist Jamaica with about $270 million. Jamaica's key trading partners such as the United States and China are showing growth, and the central bank says such growth augurs well for Jamaica's exports of goods and services. Now, shrewd Jamaican businesses pay close attention to signals sent by the central bank's monetary policy, particularly liquidity management. Here's what happened in the September quarter, and there's every indication that this will continue.
During the quarter under review, the Bank of Jamaica continued to offer longer tenor variable rate certificates of deposit, along with its standard 30-day and overnight instruments. The bank also introduced during this quarter a new element in its open market operations with a 14-day with 14-day repurchase agreements used to provide liquidity on a regular cycle to financial institutions in order to enhance their ability to manage under periodic tight liquidity conditions. In this regard, the bank's open market operations, which includes this new regular cycle of 14-day injections, in this regard, the bank's open market operations and its purchase of foreign exchange during the quarter resulted in a net injection of liquidity into the system.
In fact, during the September quarter, the central bank injected about 18 billion Jamaican dollars into the marketplace amidst pressure on exchange rates. The immediate impact was that the depreciation of the Jamaican dollar in the September quarter slowed to 2.1% compared to 2.5% in the June quarter. The central bank governor appeared confident that the bank's inflation forecast of 8.5 to 10.5% for the full fiscal year will hold, mainly because of weak demand and some weaker international prices.
Furthermore, continued declines in international grains prices are expected to have a compensating impact on inflation in the quarter. Inflation for October, reported last week by Statin at 0.8%, was lower than what we at Bank of Jamaica had been expecting for the month. So given the outturn for the year so far and the forecast for the remainder of the year, the fiscal year, the bank is projecting that inflation is going to fall within our target range of 8.5% to 10.5%.
Given expectations of continued weak domestic demand and expectations of growth among Jamaica's major trading partners, the Bank of Jamaica is projecting modest growth rate ranging from 0 to 1% for the full fiscal year. So what's likely to drive this modest growth?
The pattern of growth in the December quarter and the full year is expected to be largely driven, similar to September, by the agriculture, forestry, and fishing, by mining and quarrying, by hotels and restaurants, and by construction and installation.
And now we go to a thorny and emotive consumer issue, bank charges, and generally those associated with check encashment. Here's an interesting exchange I had with the governor at his briefing. Governor, recently there's a motion introduced in Parliament essentially calling for the central bank to play a more proactive role in respect of fee increases by the fee increases by the commercial banks and the near banks. Now, under its present status, is this possible, and if so, how soon? Governor, I see you were a little distracted.
Is what possible? Yes, I did, but is what possible?
I'm saying, under its present status, is this possible? Can the BOJ play a more proactive role in the fees that banks are setting?
I'm pretty sure nobody wants Bank of Jamaica to play a role in setting bank fees. Now, there was a question that has been raised. A resolution has been passed. I have been advised in Parliament. I am awaiting formal description of the resolution so that the Bank of Jamaica can carry out, what it's required to do. So, given that that has been raised there, and it's a formal process, I would need to respond to that. I have not yet received it formally, although of course we've all seen what the request was. So the bank will gather the data and make sure that any consideration by Parliament is supported by whatever we can do in terms of the information we can provide. I would like to indicate, though, to everybody that Bank of Jamaica does carry out a comprehensive survey, a detailed survey of all fees and charges of the banks, and we publish this survey on our website. The banks are profitable. They're making profits. The banks are well capitalized. In fact, recently a bank brought in $70 million of new capital. One bank. Another bank has brought in some $30 million this year alone of incremental capital. So, a couple of points. Banks are profitable despite NDX and other issues. 2, the banks are well capitalized. And 3, some banks have actually brought in significant amounts of new capital.
Thanks for that clarification, Governor Winter. Despite falls in profit margins by the commercial banks, they indeed remain profitable. That's your wealth for this week. Do send me your comments via Twitter at OwenJamesJA.